Many fans of One Piece predict that someday Marco the Phoenix will die and be reborn in the series. But what if I told you that he already has? Right now it's hot summer or winter, depending when and where you're watching this really. Anyways, summer, the season of backyard barbecues, and it's time to slice up one of our favorite, most shareable fruits. Nope, I'm not talking about watermelons, I'm talking about our very favorite pineapple, Marco the Phoenix. By the way, did you know that an old name for pineapple in Japanese is the phoenix pear? There goes Oda once again, never missing an opportunity for some good old wordplay. But the real question remains, does Marco belong on pizza? Okay, I'm done. Marco the Phoenix has been a fan favorite One Piece character ever since his debut. In the 5th, 6th, and 7th One Piece popularity polls, this character was ranked 12th, 20th, and 19th respectively. And it's pretty impressive to break the top 20 in a series with well over 1,000 named characters. In fact, he is the second most popular Whitebeard pirate just after Ace. What about Whitebeard? Oh, his own captain, the strongest man in the world, Whitebeard himself, only made 31st place in the latest poll. Sure, Atwood Newgate has been absent from the series for over a decade, ever since his untimely death, but the strongest man in the world surely made an impression on the fan base, to say the least. And I really should say that Marco's been a fan favorite ever since his proper debut, once we got to see him in action at the Paramount War. His cameo as the background character during Whitebeard's and Shanks' meeting hardly counts, I think. Not only was his character not flashed out yet, but even his hair color wasn't even pinned down yet, it seems. And so we had yet to know the sheer volume of cool that would ooze from this character's amazing devil fruit power. The Tori Tori no Mi model Phoenix was the very first mythical zone fruit that we were ever introduced to in the entire series, followed soon after by Sengoku's golden Buddha fruit. And now, we're not counting the Nika fruit since it wasn't formally introduced until very recently. So why exactly is Marco so loved by us fans? Sure, he has an awesome power, but that alone can't justify his wild popularity among a cast with so many fantastically written characters. I mean, not only does he outrank Whitebeard among the fanbase, but heavy hitters like Blackbeard, Garb, and even Doflamingo. It's not just the powers of the Phoenix, but the meaning behind the Phoenix as an animal and how Marco embodies that meaning that delivers his characters to such extreme heights. The heights of popularity, not the kind of heights he achieves by flying, I guess that's obvious. So yeah, someday in the final saga, we may get to see Marco die and resurrect literally, as many predict the Phoenix fruit will allow him to do. However, I want to theorize that in a way Marco has already died and resurrected, and in doing so has shown what it really takes to be the first mate of an Emperor of the Sea. Oh, also, quick shout out to Patricia and Austin Singer, both of whom are subscribed to the channel and thus have helped us increase our bounty by 100 berries each, advancing us on our shared mission to overtake Treble's bounty and reach 100 million berries. So, Zoro, Rayleigh, Katakuri, Marco. So often in One Piece, the first mates are the coolest characters on their crews, and in the story overall, if we're being honest. Many fans, me included, would rank Zoro as their favorite Straw Hat over Luffy due to his epic 3-sword style feats. Rayleigh stopped an Admiral's slight speed kick with a sandal. Katakuri's design initially looked so edgy that he seemed to be out of place in One Piece, but quickly became a beloved antagonist. And when I say that these characters are cool, I don't just mean they're awesome, which they are. These characters all have subdued personalities partnered with effortless feats of brutal strength. All of them are laid back in the face of immense danger, and they just ooze coolness. But is that what really makes a great first mate? No, it takes a lot more than being cool to be the first mate to the world's greatest pirates. Each of these pirates carries the burden when their captain no longer can. In other words, when the number one is absent or incapacitated, they are the leaders to their crews. They inherit the will of their captains. When Luffy was unconscious on Thriller Bark, Zoro took on his pain in order to save the crew, and he did so unselfishly, proclaiming that nothing happens. After Roger's execution, Rayleigh waited decades on Sabaody until he found his captain's successor. He trained Luffy so that he would stand a chance on the journey ahead in a new world, and eventually could find Laugh Tale. During Big Mom's hunger pains, when she destroys her own island and even devours her own children, it's 𝙻𝚎𝚐𝚐𝚗 who protects his family members at all costs. And so of course Marco also carries on the will of Whitebeard. And in doing so, he embodies the spirit of his devil fruit, the Phoenix. In the legend of the Phoenix, this fiery bird makes its nest and then dies engulfed in flames. From the ashes that remain, it is reborn as an egg, hatching again into a new Phoenix. Which is also why we have to ask ourselves at this point in the story whether Baron Tamago has a technically more accurate Phoenix fruit than Marco does. On a more serious note though, it's fitting that this story would fit so neatly into mythology. After all, we do know that Oda loves drawing on various myths and legends from all around the world. The journey of the Phoenix can be found in legends from all types of countries and places. The journey of Marco actually parallels a literal concept called the Monomyth. The scholar Joseph Campbell, in his book The Hero with a Thousand Faces, recognized that many myths and legends from across the world do share similar structures. This shared common structure for stories is called the monomyth, or the hero's journey. One focal part of the hero's journey comes after a great challenge. They fall into an abyss, an absolute low point, a death, and rebirth. Ultimately, after their rebirth, they rise into overcoming their challenges and finding atonement. And so of course the entirety of Luffy's story, for instance, mirrors the hero's journey very well as well. His lowest point was losing his brother at Marineford, a period of utter despair and hopelessness that he was then reborn from after the time skip. But we also see this concept represented in miniature with Marco and the legend of the Phoenix in general. After the war at Marineford, when the Whitebeard pirates lost both their captain and ace, Marco stepped up to the role of leader. As a new captain, he sought vengeance against Blackbeard, the traitor who had caused unspeakable damage to his former crew. However, in this payback war, the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates suffered a devastating loss and subsequently had to disband. And so if Marco's journey parallels the mythology of the Phoenix, then this is his death. While once he soared into battle, he went out in a blaze of glory, seemingly completely defeated. It was then that he retreated to Sphinx Island. Even after the end of his crew, he never lost sight of fulfilling his captain's will. Marco protected the island that Whitebeard considered his treasure, using his medical knowledge to take care of the people there and watching over the graves of Ace and his captain. Even though his personal battle had ended, embers remained in the ashes, still burning softly with the dreams of the late Edward Newgate. And so it was of course in Wano that the Phoenix would rise once again. Reunited with another former division commander, Izo, Marco returned to the battlefield. After hearing Nekomamushi's plea for help, he knew it's what Whitebeard would have done to help avenge his old friend Kozuki Oden, now with stylish new glasses. Which, you know, we could see as a new clarity of vision, at the risk of maybe overanalyzing this a little bit. You know, let's do it anyways. Marco's Phoenix form burned again, clashing with some of the great powers of the world, the commanders of 2 Yonko crews, and briefly with Big Mom herself. His healing powers came in clutch during the battle, and he even helped Zoro make it in time to participate in Roof Peace. Many fans also see Marco as the pheasant parallel within the Momotaro myth, in which Momonosuke restored his kingdom with the help of a monkey, Luffy, a dog, Yamato, and the pheasant, which is Marco. The Phoenix played an invaluable role in the ninja pirate Mink Samurai Alliance and likely helped turn the tide of the battle for Wano country. Now, it's still unknown to us what will actually become of Marco in the final saga, but surely there is more to his story. As far as we know, Whitebeard's supposed son, Weevil, is still hunting the remnants of the Whitebeard pirates. Will he eventually restore this crew to their former glory, finally making a true rebirth? Will the rest of the division commanders that we haven't seen post time skip make an appearance maybe? There's still hope too that the figurative death and rebirth that Mako has followed in the story so far will be followed by a literal death and rebirth enabled by his mythical zone fruit. And who knows, maybe he will even sail with the Straw Hats for a little bit. In a recent video on this channel, the Phoenix fruit was actually named the most powerful of all the zone devil fruits. And if you want to know the secret to why it is the best of the best and see what fruit it narrowly beat, you really should miss out on that video right here.